So after 12 years of being in a cult, I woke up and left. And today I want to talk to you about being a whistleblower and the process that abusers will go through to confront their victims when they are confronted with the abuse that they've done. My intention on shedding light on this is that it will free someone who watches this, who will then be able to leave, speak out, or at least not blame or gaslight themselves for the things that abusive people have done, especially when you finally become strong enough to get up and leave. So here's the overview of what happened in timeline. So basically, I realized what I was in, and I took steps strategically to distance myself and get out. I actually was lucky enough to get advice from Janja, who is professor emerita of sociology at California State University and a foremost expert in cults, charismatic authority, power relations, ideology, and social control. So she helped me create an exit strategy. And that was really important to keep me and my family safe when we did decide to leave and how we got out. We were both working, my husband and I, working for this cult. And so we had to replace our income. He had to go get a job. We had to make ourselves financially and physically safe. And that took a number of months. Once that occurred, and I got some distance, the number of people that were coming to me asking me why I left, and I couldn't lie about it. I didn't want other people to feel like what they were experiencing, they were alone, or that they were crazy, or that they were wrong, or they were mistaken, because they weren't. They were all aware of what I was aware of, and me not speaking out seemed like furthering the abuse that they were doing to all of us. So I did speak out. I'll link to the original series that I wrote, an email series, and made a private podcast. It was called Taking Back My Life, 7 Brutal Lessons Learned on the Way to Business Success. I didn't name names. It wasn't about outing this group. It was about explaining some really problematic things that I had become aware of. And it got back to the cult and the cult leaders. They were together in a class, and the leaders were on stage, and they publicly slandered me, accused me of all kinds of things that was all lies, and also just basically went for my character, tried to ruin my reputation, even said, this is what we're doing. We're going to ruin her reputation, her business. And here's a 16-second clip of that. I'd like to point out that the class at the end is cheering after cursing me to die in hell. And the other thing they said was, die, bitch. So this attack happened, and rather than actually address any of the issues I brought up in my series, they just went for my reputation, my character. This continues today. They are continuing to tell people all number of things that I supposedly did to them, even though over 12 years, the amount of times that they would credit me for helping them grow their business and contributing and being such a great person. Somehow now I am the devil and have done all manner of disgusting things. So 2 problems with this. One, they didn't address any of the things that I actually brought up, because rather than look at what they're doing wrong and continue to do wrong, because it's a cult, it's not a legitimate business where you might actually have a discourse, they just slander me. They just go for my character, and they try to discredit me so that no one will believe anything that I have to say. Second problem with this, the cheering. There was a few people who came out after this because they actually know me and they couldn't believe the things they were hearing. And I think that that's great. Like, if they have to be this way to me to wake people up, it's worth it. I can take it. I don't love hearing lies about me spread around and having my business ruined by them, but I'm glad that people are hearing how disgusting they actually are, and they're being that overt is allowing other people to wake up. So the cheering, I mean, look at the problem with this. Like, you see a group sitting in front of a leader whose supposed role is to create more consciousness on the planet, just being disgusting, and they're cheering. I mean, we're one step away from just him telling them to come after me or my family. And I fully believe that these people, including myself, formerly brainwashed enough to do whatever he says. And that's pretty fucking scary. So this is very problematic for a number of reasons. And this is what I've come to discover, not unique in abusive situations where perpetrators actually do this to their victims. So there's a name for it. It's called DARVO. DARVO stands for deny, attack, and reverse victim and offender. Perpetrators often use this to shame victims into believing they are responsible for the abuse. So it was originally coined by psychology researcher Jennifer Freyd, and it looks something like this. Deny. So the abuser vehemently denies the survivor's account of what happened. This can involve gaslighting the survivor to make the survivor doubt their memory of events. The survivor may begin to question whether or not they're blowing it out of proportion as the abuser continues to minimize what they remember happening. So they deny it. So all the things that I brought up in my series and all the things that I've brought up since then, what they'll do is they just deny. They just deny that it ever happened, even though there are countless. I'll link to a post, hundreds of people that have experienced the same thing and left over the years and didn't speak out because of things like this that they do. So they'll deny that they do any of this. They'll deny that it ever happened, even if it's on recording. They will deny it so vehemently that you, as the victim or the survivor, start to question whether or not it actually happened. Or even today, this happened. Luckily, I have a great friend who I can call when this comes up. But I start to go, oh, maybe it wasn't that bad. Maybe I'm blowing it out of proportion. It was that bad. It was worse than that bad. And the thing about it being so insidious and subtle and complicated is that other people don't really get it because you're not being punched in the face. You know, abuse doesn't happen just to your physical body. Sometimes the abuse that happens mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially is way worse than being punched in the face. So number one, deny. So they're going to deny it and say that it never happened. In this case, they're denying being a cult. They're denying giving bad business advice, giving stupid advice. I mean, the things that I brought up was not a character assault on any one of the leaders. It was really an attack on the ways, as the title suggests, the 7 brutal lessons that I learned. So after following their advice for 12 years, taking back my life. So they are denying these 7 things that I brought up. You can read the series, but basically they're just denying that any of that was problematic. And especially that they definitely deny being a cult. And the way they justify not being a cult is they had someone who's in the cult write an article about why they're not a cult. That doesn't really count. Okay. Number 2, attack. So this is DARVO, DARVO. So deny is the D, A is attack. The abuser shifts the focus to the survivor's credibility and whether or not others, including law enforcement, should believe them. This could include bringing up past indiscretions, real or fabricated, in the survivor's past, questioning the survivor's mental health, accusing the survivor of abusing drugs or alcohol, or asserting the survivor is the abusive one when really the survivor was reacting to the abuse being inflicted. The abuser may even insinuate that the survivor wanted what happened, or that because the couple is married, we're not married, but the abuser couldn't have possibly sexually assaulted them. The end result can be that the survivor feels bullied or disparaged into staying quiet, or may feel some sense of the abuse being their own fault. Be aware, trauma-related guilt is a liar. So obviously this was an attack on me and my credibility, and designed to discredit me and turn the focus away from the problems that they have and that they're doing and the abuse that they're inflicting on all the people that they're encountering, including myself, onto me and how faulty I am. And whether or not what they said is true, even if it was true, it doesn't account for them abusing me and everyone else that they come in contact with. Like, it literally, none of the things they even accuse me of can excuse their behavior, even if they were true. And some of them have zero relevance. Like, they're just literally character assaults. Why are we even talking about this? How does this belong in your supposed facilitator training course where you're teaching people how to go out and spread your crap around the world? But instead of bringing that up, the people in the room just cheered. Now, in their defense, they're also all brainwashed and sitting there in a trauma response. So no hard feelings, people who are cheering, and even some of my best ex-friends who jumped in and rallied against me. Number 3, reverse victim and offender. So DARVO. So this is the RVO. The final twisted step of this manipulation is for the abuser to secure their title of victim and position the actual survivor as the offender. They might contend that the survivor has some vendetta to destroy them. They might say that the survivor is lying in order to turn people against the abuser, become more popular, take their children away, or receive a larger divorce settlement. The abuser might claim they're a victim of the system. They may use their socioeconomic standing, race, or gender to support their claim. All the while, the survivor's actual disclosure of abuse is overshadowed, and the survivor will end up spending more time trying to defend her reputation than receiving help for the abuse. So this is the hilarious part to me, is that they always end up being the victim. Oh, poor them. So now we have reversed the victim and the offender, and this continues to come up in another class that was much more recent. It's now my fault that their classes are, not, people aren't coming because I spoke out and told lies against them. So now they're the victim. I am the offender. I'm spreading lies about them. Why? Why would I do that? What do I have to gain? I've lost everything. This is insane. Like, it does not even make sense. Why would I do that? And then they're going to say, well, somehow I'm just crazy. So for the last 12 years, I was completely sane. And then the day I left, I just went crazy, turned on them, spread a bunch of lies, and they're the victim. What? It literally does not even make sense. Okay, so here's where the twist is. So the focus becomes on, I'm the offender and they're the victim. So reversing victim and offender. Everything that comes out of their mouth after this is about how good they are, how much they did for me and my family, how generous they were, how much they gave to us, and blah, 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 blah. Literally, it's not even about me. I didn't speak out because of what they did to me. I haven't even processed that. I haven't even healed that. I'm only now realizing how much trauma I suffered for over a decade being in this cult. The reason I spoke out was to save anyone who is questioning whether or not they're crazy or whether or not they're wrong because they went into this group, didn't make any money, gave them all their money, went into debt, went bankrupt, fell off the wagon, lost their sobriety, left their children, all the horrible things that on a daily basis, people write to me, call me, tell me about, and they say, maybe it's me. I didn't do it enough. I didn't use the tools enough. I should go back and get more classes. I didn't receive. I didn't, and they think they're wrong. That's why I spoke out, because you know what? Yeah, I am angry. You don't get away with that. You don't get to get on stage and spew this abuse and no one says anything. And because I am able to, I will. All right. The other thing I want to say is that if you have gotten out and you've been quiet, that's okay. You don't have to speak out. The life of a whistleblower is not fun or easy, and I don't recommend it to anyone. Don't feel that you need to go in and save the people that you brought in. Don't feel like you need to share with your friends and family that they were right all along and that you were wrong. Just be safe, get healthy, save yourself. This is actually the advice that Janja Lalich gave me, and I clearly didn't listen. I did, but I didn't. And I wrestle with how much to speak out and how much to be quiet and just to focus on my mental health, because this is really triggering. It does get me riled up. But so does hearing just daily accounts of people being abused. This group is still, as this at time of this recording on March 15th, 2023, up and running as per normal, spreading this kind of stuff in the name of consciousness. If you want to speak out, if you want to reach out, if you need someone to make sure you're not imagining this, that you're not making it up, maybe you're wondering, oh, maybe it wasn't that bad. Maybe you left and you're thinking about going back. Maybe you feel like you already invested too much and you can't leave. Message me. There's also a hashtag I got out, and I recommend that you use that, join that, follow that. It's a group of survivors who are taking back their lives after getting out of cults, abusive relationships, narcissistic abuse, coercive control groups. And I do believe, as Sarah Edmondson and Nippy Ames say, this is the age of cult awakening and awareness. So this won't be able to exist for very long. So I hope this helped someone. If you feel like someone in your life needs to hear this, please share, and bye for now.